Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aishah Hassan. I'm a representative of GRAS Malaysia. I'm so honored to be here with all of you, my fellow change makers, and I hope that we will learn something and gain some knowledge and incredible experience from this great event of the Malaysian Youth SDG Summit 2022, inshallah. So my topic today is about the climate action from religious approach, specifically in Islamic environmentalism. So, before I start, I would like to ask you something. What is blogging? What is it? Just ignore that girl there. That was me. But the picture doesn't really depict what blogging is. Okay, let me explain a bit. Blogging is a combination activity of picking up and jogging, and it was originated from the Swedish verb that is plocka up, mean pick up, and another one is jogga, means jogging. So it's called plogga or blogging. So basically, blogging was established as an organized activities in the Sweden since 2016, and it became widespread to all over the world since in 2018 until now. And of course, this activity is good for our human health as well as for our environmental health. And what I want to highlight here is several hadiths from our Prophet Muhammad SAW that mention about this activity, and among of them that I put here is hadith from Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu reported that the Prophet SAW said, every joint of a person must perform a charity each day that the sun rises. To judge justly between two people is a charity. To help a man with his mount, lifting him onto it, or hoisting up his belonging onto it is a charity, and say a good word is a charity, and every step that you take towards prayer is a charity, and removing a harmful object from the road is a charity. All right, so this is clear enough that Rasulullah SAW encouraged us to do this kind of activity, and it is a charity. And he's mentioned about this, emphasized about this over 1,400 years ago. And as we know that charity is not limited to the contribution of your money or any materials, but charity also all about the kindness and the goodness that you did in terms of your energy, your time, your good attitude, and your good deeds. That's all the charity. And we believe that charity means we can redeem a reward in the hereafter. So for the Muslim especially, this is how, this is what we call it, one of the way and motivation for us to earn the paradise. And we have to aware and appreciate all this Islamic teaching that has taught us on how to be environmentally friendly. Okay, so yeah, next I would like to share a bit about faith and SDG. So basically, my topic is closely related to this topic, faith and SDG. And nowadays, United Nations Environmental Program has launched Faith for Earth initiative that it was engaged with the faith-based organization at the global, and the director of this initiative said that FBO or faith-based organization have a great potential to contribute in the implementation of SDG. Means in order to fulfill the sustainability agenda, to achieve our sustainable development goal, we cannot ignore the faith and spiritual approach. And I would like to bring what the Prof. Said Hussein Nas mentioned, that the environmental crisis is influenced by the internal spiritual crisis of our modern human. And besides, Prof. Emeritus Dr. Osman Bakar said that environmental degradation is a humanity issue due to the facade. Facade here means the damage and the corruption, the degradation that caused by the mankind. So in fact, in the Quran is the main sources in Islamic teaching. In Surah Ar-Rum verses 41, mischief and corruption have appeared on land and sea because of that the hands of men have earned, that Allah may give them a taste of some of their deeds, means the consequences of their deeds, in order that they may turn back to Allah from the evil action. So this obviously what happened nowadays, right? That all the damage, all the corruption, all the degradation is happen because of us. We are generating greenhouse gases, we are making pollution, we are creating global warming, climate change, and other environmental crises. And therefore, the spiritual and faith dimension is very crucial to overcome this crisis. And of course, ecological harmony, environmental protection, as well as sustainability agenda can be achieved if faith-based approach applied, where our people interpret and translate the environmental ethics and values in their daily life when we interact with our nature. Right. Next is about Islamic environmentalism. So Islam is a holistic religion that we covered social, economy, and political issues, as well as environmental issues. So this environmentalism is deeply embedded in the veins of Islam. It is about personal behavior and how it manifests itself in association with others, and about being considerate in our relationship with the natural world. So this concept we call hablum minallah wa hablum minan nas wa hablum minal alam. And there are figures that show us the three entities. That is Allah, the creator, the most powerful entity there. And then we have human being, that is ours, the caretakers of the nature, and the nature itself, all the creation included living things and non-living things. So all these three entities are interconnected to each other. And based on the Quran, Islam emphasizes preaching. Preaching in Arabic term we call da'wah, namely encouraging public good and forbidding wrong action. The concept here we call amal ma'ruf nahi munkar. Amal ma'ruf means we encourage people to do good things, while nahi munkar means disallowing people doing wickedness and damage, such as littering, deforestation, wasting of resources and water, and then making pollution and all that. So as I mentioned about pollution, based on our normal understanding from scientific understanding, that pollution is a contamination, right? Pollution can be defined as a contamination of our Earth's environment with the material that interfere our human health, our quality of life, as well as our natural functioning of the ecosystem. Right, that is the pollution. But in another perspective, from spiritual and faith dimension, pollution can be defined as a developing disease in our heart that it not really perceptible of the eyes. We cannot see it, like for example, plastic pollution, water pollution, that obviously we can see, right? So, but this kind of pollution affected our insight, our wisdom, our intelligence, our mind, our thought, as well as our behavior. And this are caused by the attitude of wasting time, behaving in the wrong way, or we call it using a bad language in order to abuse people, or normalizing a bad language when we communicating with people, and misusing our modern device, and particularly for the Muslim never reading the Quran. And ultimately, we become polluted by our action and our thought. So to bear in mind that pollution of the mind and spiritual is closely related to the pollution of the physical environment. As I mentioned earlier about the environmental crisis is influenced by the spiritual crisis. So, and here a bit regarding my environmental activism journey, where there are many sustainability programs that I have involved, and one of them is Laskar Alam Training. So, right, Laskar Alam Training basically is referring to the group of environmental activists that possess a strong passion about the environment and have a strong intention to spread the environmental awareness to the people. So this training, Laskar Alam, has been conducted since 2018, and we have collaborated with a lot of strategic partners, for example, Comnet Unicel, Rimba, NGO, and few more. And there are 4 stages in the module of Laskar Alam. That is stage 1, foundation of Laskar Alam. So in this stage, it's about the fundamental of environmental ethics and the insight of Laskar Alam itself, such as the concept of Baldah Tayyibah, Khairu Ummah, and Ulu Albab concept. And stage 2 is about practitioner. So this training where participants will expose about the green lifestyle and some skill about the green practices that can be applied and implemented in their daily life. And then we have stage 3. Stage 3 is educators. So this training aiming to develop environmental educators who are able to preach, to influence, to educate, people about the environmental issues and sustainability. And the last but not least is stage 4, leaders. Of course, this is important role that in this stage, training focus to produce leaders that who have a good understanding about the environmental sustainability agenda, and then about the environmental law, about the green technology, about the Islamic environmental system, and the good environmental governance. So these are the 4 stages of Laskar Alam module. This is a bit about a screenshot of our virtual training during pandemic last time. So frankly speaking, I'm among the product of this Laskar Alam training, and of course I'm still learning. And in this, particularly in this training, webinar training, I was a facilitator. Sorry. So what I would like to share here is we learn about the Islamic environmental ethics as listed here. The first one is concept Tawheed, the oneness of God, as we believe Allah is the creator. Allah created everything, and all the creatures is a sign of Allah existed, and we cannot destroy it. And the second concept is Khalifah, stewardship. We as a caretakers have to safeguard our natural world because this is amanah or trust from Allah. We have been selected by Allah as a trustee to take a good care of our environment, and then we have the concept of mizan, means here balance and justice. So absolutely, our environment was created in equilibrium condition, but the balance has been disturbed, but because of human overexploitation, overconsumption, and overuse of resources, and this is against the concept of wasatiyah. Here means moderation. And this concept also is closely related to the minimalist values. And the last one is there are concept of ihsan. So in this concept, it's about doing goodness. Okay, and we believe that Allah is looking at us 24 hours, and of course He did it. So we don't need any inspector or legal authority to enforce, to control or monitor our action or our attitude towards the environment, because we believe Allah is looking at us. Okay, so there is self-governance. And here is picture of my activities and involvement, few pictures regarding the environmental sustainability initiative and promoting the environmental Islamic environmental values, either in theoretically or practically, in practical. So most important part, what can we do to take care of our earth? So there are a few points here in my conclusion. Faith and knowledge, be faithful and knowledgeable, gain awareness and avoid ignorance. I think people ignorance is a sickness that can contribute a severe impact to our social community as well as to our environment. So we have to avoid this kind of attitude. It's not good. And then we have practices. Okay, practices believe that small actions can generate big impacts in the future. If I could share with you guys within this very limited time that some of my book collection that I covered with, if you can see, with the plastic. I'm not going to promote the junk food anyway, but my intention is just to minimize our environmental burden and be responsible of what we produce and consume. Even though this is small action, but I don't care, I just do it. Okay, so inshallah we strive to combat the climate change together by nurturing the pro-environmental behavior. Means we always think about the nature in everything we do. We always think about the nature is that generate a bad or good impact to the environment, and always practice green lifestyles such as recycling, refusing single-use plastic, planting tree, and then reducing energy and water consumption, and so on. So last but not least, be green, be exemplary to others. Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you very much for the opportunity given, and see you again, inshallah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.